As a rideshare driver, most of us are aware that there are no shortage of inherent dangers that come along with the profession. But what about when the profession itself is accused of dangers that are suspicious at best? What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Now, we often cover dangers that the drivers often face when riding around and ushering passengers in their vehicles. But what about the passengers themselves? What about the dangers that they may face from us, the drivers? And the possibility that some folks are making up things that really are no major issue at all. This actually comes from an article where I'm really concerned, and you should be too if you're in ride sharing or if you even take rideshare vehicles. The article is titled, "Rideshare Driver Accused of Raping Multiple Women in Ohio." Now, this story comes to you out of Akron, where a driver, apparently a rideshare driver, if you look at the title of this story, was taking advantage of women. But there's a hell of a lot of really suspicious what ifs, and not to victim blame, but I want you to hear some of the details of the story. Akron, Ohio. Mohammed Rita, 24, is charged with 4 counts of rape, 4 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of attempted rape. Now, listen to the details the authorities give on this story, and it should immediately draw red flags. Authorities said Rita would drive around the city looking for women to prey on and would try to get the women in his car. Now, obviously, if you didn't request a trip, how the hell is somebody going to show up and try to get you in the vehicle? It's almost like offering candy to a child. You didn't request a trip. Everyone knows that in ride sharing, the process begins with you using a smartphone and requesting a trip. Or some cases you can dial a phone number, an 800 number, which I'm not a fan of because it removes, or at the very least reduces, the data trail if some shit like this happens. But no stranger, and this is for my rideshare passengers, nobody should ever pull up on you and just offer you a ride. If you request a rideshare ride, you should know the type of car that's going to show up, the license plate, and you should even have a picture of the driver. So nobody who is a total stranger to you should just show up offering you a ride. But this gets even worse. Listen to the actual testimony of the victims, and if this doesn't draw red flags, I don't know what the hell would. One victim said in a 911 call that he took her to a park and pulled a knife on her, according to WOIO. Hear this one. Another woman said she got into Rita's car after he offered her a job. What the hell is that? What rideshare driver is going around posing as an employer? I believe this story, despite its titling, is really giving a bad name unnecessarily to rideshare, the whole rideshare process. Because this driver does not sound like really any of his crimes were made possible because he was using the notion that he was a rideshare driver. Anybody that would get in a car that just shows up out of the blue is not even looking for a rideshare vehicle. Anyone that would get in a car because the driver is offering them a job, you would have to know that's not Uber or Lyft. That's not the business model of rideshare. We don't hire people. What kind of shit is that? In my humble opinion, and as I stated earlier, not to victim blame, these could have been women of the evening. Folks who are really readily available to jump in vehicles. That's really what it sounds like. I don't want to victim blame. I don't want to claim things I don't know. But a full-grown adult should know that people don't drive around offering you damn jobs. A 24-year-old guy, this guy, Mohammed Rita, he's 24 years old. How many 24-year-olds are driving around in a car offering random people on the street a job? Don't know about you, don't know your background, have no clue of your educational history, no clue if you got a criminal record or anything, just offering you a job. If you're not suspicious of that and you just jump into the vehicle, to some degree, your own personal intelligence needs to be questioned. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid victim blaming. But it seems like this might have been an article written with rideshare in the title simply for the purpose of sensationalizing the article. Because there's a lot of passengers that are already cautious about getting in a rideshare vehicle. Hey, listen, the driver's a complete stranger. I get it. There's a lot of legitimate reasons anytime you deal with strangers to be cautious about your safety. Nevertheless, it doesn't help when a story like this from WOIO out of Ohio is making up things. Notice in the article, they don't actually say if the guy drove for Uber or Lyft. They just say a rideshare driver, probably because they understand the wrath of the ride-sharing companies would probably pop up and try to go after them, litigation, take them to court for some litigation. Like, this is not a rideshare driver, folks. I don't believe it is. I'm talking predominantly to any of the passengers that may be watching the program, folks who regularly use Uber or Lyft or a ride-sharing vehicle as a passenger. This is not realistic. Any grown adults that are getting in vehicles because they simply showed up and offered someone a ride or because they offered to give them a job, this is not the typical victim in any situation. And it's hard to believe that an actual rideshare driver was doing this. It sounds more like these were very naive victims or, as I said, women of the night who regularly jump into the car of strangers because they too are subcontractors to some degree. They're not legal, but they too are working as an independent contractor, selling their services. Those are the type of women that might readily jump into the vehicle of someone offering them a quote unquote job. Damn right, if I need your services, I'm going to hire you. How much do you charge for this or for that? That's what this sounds like. But what do you folks think in regards to this? Have you ever heard of something like this where a person is driving around posing as a rideshare driver and folks are just randomly jumping in the car even though they didn't ask for a damn ride? Have you ever been hired by an employer that just simply pulled up on the curb and offered you a job? Let your boy know in the comments in regards to this story. This particular perpetrator is likely to stand trial beginning February 8th. Jury selection has begun already. Let your boy know in the comments as always. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.